Good morning, everyone. Hope I'm audible and visible. Hello, Gaurav, Avi, Sandeep, Shoaib, and everyone who's watching. All right. So today we are starting a final marathon to CAT. Every day I'll be coming live at 10:30 for VARC. Okay, then for LRDI and then for Quant. Yojag Apurva, good morning, Shubham. Okay, so today I have chosen the topics which are somehow connected to modern technology. So multiple things. There are three passages. One by one, we'll be going around. Episode 2 of RC 99, Science and Technology. All right. So here is the first passage, passage 1 of 3. I'll be giving you exactly 3 minutes to read this, but before that, I wanted to see the questions. Okay. So I'm starting my timer, which will be of total of 10 minutes. Okay. In these 10 minutes, you will be. So first, I'll show you the questions for 30 seconds each. And so four questions you'll be seeing, not 30 seconds, in fact, 15 seconds each. So the first 1 minute, you'll be seeing all the questions. I'll not say anything. I'll just keep on, changing the slides. And you might note the main points of the question. And then after 1 minute, I'll be shifting over to the passage, for which I'll be giving you 3 to 4 minutes. And then one by one, we'll be shifting the questions. All right. So this is what we are planning to do over here. The time starts now. The first question. Thanks, Abhi. डेली चलेगा डेली कैट यस योजक 15 seconds over. Second question. I've also told you earlier that you know there are some questions in which you need to look at the read the options, and some you don't have to. I'll discuss that while explaining the passage. Third question. The fourth one. Good morning, Harshit. I think all of you have read the questions, and now I'll be going to the passage. So as you see, timer is ticking. At 7:30, I'll be going to the passage. Any question you want to see again? The time starts now for the passage. I'm going on mute. I'm going invisible and then on mute. Good morning, Mahi. The fourth question now. Good morning, Samir. Good morning, Sarth. So I would just show you the any questions you want to see again. I'll be showing the questions for 30 seconds again, each of them. 30 seconds for question four is already going on. All right, away. Question three, 30 seconds again. Good morning, Aditi. You're late. 30 seconds for second question again. Yes, Sudeep. Here we go. Thirty seconds for question one again. Durgesh. All right. So let us solve it. I'll solve it for you guys. So if I was writing this, cat, and this question came to me, what would I have done? All right. So first, I will read the questions. Okay, the first question says the author suggests that mice most significant disruption lies in. I'll read the passage here. The options here. Replacing human doctors in high risk childbirth procedures. Replacing human doctors, that's the keyword. Challenging the symbolic and cultural meaning traditionally attached to birth. Challenging what? The symbolic and cultural meaning. Okay. So it's a philosophical sort of thing. Okay. This is totally technical. This is a bit of philosophy. Introducing a more efficient technological protocol into hospitals. Again, technical. Reducing the cost of neonatal care while worldwide. This is economics, business, finance. Okay. So I can see that these four options are like this. Coming to second one. So what I'm doing, probably you are making a note of it subconsciously, right? The phrase algorithm of presence, algorithm, when I read the word algorithm, technology comes to my mind, right? Algorithm, computer programs, presence, okay, is used primarily to highlight that my truly understands and shares human emotional states, okay, simulates certain aspects of human simulates certain aspects of human reassurance without experiencing them. All right, has surpassed human caregivers in both competence and empathy, should replace doctors entirely in emotional contexts. Now, the moment I read this, without even reading the passage, there's one thing which comes to my mind. It says algorithm of presence. So it's basically tech is somehow meeting human connection, right? That is what it essentially would mean. But if we read the passage, probably we'll get a better idea. Okay. Third says Which of the following, if true, would most challenge the author's view on responsibility in automated care? So first, I need to understand what is the author's view on responsibility in automated care. I won't read the options here because that will waste my time. Okay, unless I know what his views are, I won't be reading the options. Otherwise, I'll get biased. Do you understand this? Yes or no? So I'm just showing you in which questions we will read the options in which we do not have to. Yes or no? Do you understand? Question 4 says the author implies that Mai's introduction ultimately forces humans to reconsider. Introduction: whether childbirth should be fully automated, whether emotional fragility is a necessary component of genuine care, whether machines should be granted legal personhood, whether technology should be completely removed from sacred rituals. Okay, now I have fair idea about what has to be answered. I'll read the passage now. The announcement that Mai, the world's first autonomous neonatal robot, Mai. अच्छा इन खड़ी बोली like हिंदी थोड़ा खड़ी बोली जो होता है Mai, this word is used for mother. Do you know that? This is not a part of the passage, but yeah, basically the name is from there. So this AI is artificial intelligence. How cool the name is. The first autonomous neonatal robot had successfully delivered a human infant, provoked a reaction far beyond the medical community. So she delivered a robot, a human, and now there are reactions everywhere. So obviously reactions are of two types. That is something which all of us understand. Everything has got three reactions: positive, negative, and neutral. Some hailed it as a triumph of precision and compassion, engineered into circuitry. Circuitry, matlab circuits, technology basically. Others saw it as the symbolic displacement of humanity from one of its oldest rituals. कौन सा ritual है? Childbirth. The debate, however, reveals a deeper question. What's the deeper question? What does it mean for a machine to intervene at the very threshold where life enters the world? मतलब शुरुआत से ही मशीन आ गई है। अभी तक तो क्या था भाई कि मशीन हमारा सारा काम कर रही है, यहाँ पे चाइल्ड बर्थ से मशीन करना शुरू कर देगी तो क्या होगा? Okay, Mai's creators insist that she represents not replacement but refinement. Obviously, the creators will defend. Childbirth is a domain where unpredictability constantly threatens catastrophe, and medical error, human fatigue, bias, misjudgment can be fatal. And it is happening. All of us know that, right? वाह गौरव मोदी जी ने कहा था in in contrast neither tires nor panic she calculates fetal distress maternal hemorrhage and surgical timing तो यहाँ पे क्या क्या हो रहा है ये पढ़ने की जरूरत नहीं है कि क्वेश्चन में से पूछा भी नहीं गया हमें क्वेश्चन पता है अल्टीमेटली हमें मालूम पड़ रहा है कि माई like all other machines is free from emotional baggages and that is why she can be more precise more technical right with superhuman speed, yet her significance extends beyond performance. She has been designed not merely to act but to sense, detecting micro tremors in the mother's pulse, modulating her voice to reduce anxiety. Wow, look at this. Adjusting the lighting in the room to evoke a feeling of warmth, her creators call this the algorithm of presence, an attempt to approximate the intangible reassurance traditionally provided by human caretakers. I can actually, kind of answer this algorithm of presence. कहाँ गया? Second question. तो यहाँ पे चार चीजें थी when I tell you algorithm of presence, so I already explained without even reading the passage. This means tech is meeting human connection. तो एक एल्गोरिथम है, एक सॉफ्टवेयर है जो उसको वहां पे ह्यूमन प्रेजेंस देने की कोशिश कर रहा है. That is the key point over here. So obviously, as we have read all the questions, second is the most possible choice. This is the only thing which is simulates. मतलब सच में नहीं हो रहा. What is simulation? Something that is copied technically. Majorly it is technical simulation. So we say simulation of the world, simulation of a game, simulation of a car, simulation of an aircraft. So basically, when you go to some gaming zones and you are sitting inside a simulation of a car, you see things happening, right? All those are simulations. They're created by machines. So simulates certain aspects of human reassurance without experiencing them. कि यहाँ पे क्या है कि इसने एक्सपीरियंस तो नहीं किया है कुछ भी है ना ये दिया हुआ है she's not experienced it is all about algorithms the software she has been put into बाकी क्यों गलत है truly understands ये truly understands is a far-fetched statement we don't really know oh Harshil really 5 मिनट हो गया ये है सरपास्ट ह्यूमन केयर गिवर्स सरपास्ट ये भी कंफर्म नहीं हुआ ऐसा कुछ नहीं बोला गया शुड रिप्लेस डॉक्टर्स इंटायरली फार फेस्ट सो बी इज द मोस्ट प्लॉजिबल चॉइस ओके चलो आगे पढ़ते हैं अभी पूरा बस पढ़ा नहीं है, हमने एक आंसर कर दिया व्हाई बिकॉज वी नो द क्वेश्चंस but the presence of robot in childbirth also exposes the fragility of concepts long taken for granted. For millennia, the act of delivering a child has been bound up with cultural identity, symbolic meaning, and ideas of kinship. What is kinship? Family. You know? Midwives, grandmothers, and physicians were not simply technicians. I hope you know what is a midwife. आया सुना है ताई ताई not आया आया ने पैदा किया है ना were not simply technicians, they were custodians of a ritual that fused biology with belonging. Might disrupts this continuity. She carries no lineage. No lineage, कोई इसका कुल नहीं है. There is no ancestor. There will be no but there will probably there will be descendants, but not any ancestors. No memory of past births, no inherited wisdom. She does not welcome a child. She initiates a protocol. Whether this matters depends on how we conceive the human role in creation as functional or irreducibly symbolic. So human role in creation is functional, like human functions to create, or they just, symbolically they are creating things. Clear? Second paragraph, third paragraph talks about that. Coming to so we are mapping the paragraph as well. First was all about the news of my giving birth. Second was how creators are, my creators are defending her, defending the entire software and hardware. Third is philosophical and anthropological um, passage which talks about the human role in creation. Okay, well, and also a question is posed in the end of third paragraph, and the question is whether the role of creation of human is functional or symbolic. Now, fourth paragraph, paradoxically, my success forces humans to confront their own ambivalence about the role of emotion in care. पैराडॉक्स ये है कि माई इतनी सक्सेसफुल हो गई कि ह्यूमंस भी जज करने लगे अपने आप को कि हम ठीक कर पा रहे कि नहीं कर पा रहे हर परफेक्शन हाईलाइट्स हाउ ऑफन ह्यूमन केयरटेकर्स fail through exhaustion, fear, or prejudice. Yet her precision also eliminates that what she cannot replicate. अब यहाँ पे आया कि कैसे कैसे वो क्या replicate नहीं कर सकती. The trembling uncertainty with which a human doctor navigates risk, the compassion that arises not from calculation but from vulnerability. Mai's neutrality is both her strength and her limitation. She knows everything except what it means to care. Cool. So because Mai does not feel emotions, Mai has got no um, what do you say um, vulnerability, right? So she can simulate the entire condition. She can understand things better than humans can do, but she won't be vulnerable. It's her limitation, her neutrality. She's neutral. She doesn't feel much. Okay, so that neutrality is her strength as well as the limitation. Do you understand that? So everything has got two aspects. Cool. So this was a debate between people, and essentially, Mai's neutrality was also a thing of debate. It's a strength or a limitation. Then coming to fifth paragraph, the ethical debate. Now it is about ethics. Ethical debate intensifies when one considers agency. Mai does not choose to help, she executes instructions. If a surgical error occurs, responsibility diffuses across designers, programmers, regulators, and users. In a world where machines perform sacred tasks, moral accountability becomes procedural rather than personal. Okay? तो कोई morality होगी, कोई गलत चीज होगी, अच्छी चीज होगी, morality. Morality was always a personal thing, right? Like my morality is different than yours morality. But in this case, if machines are the ones who keep on doing this, then the morality would not be a personal thing anymore. It would become procedural. Do you understand that? Why? Because my was created by a team of people, designers, computer scientists, researchers, linguists, etc. This raises the unsettling possibility that the more we automate care, the more we risk eroding the dimension of responsibility that makes care meaningful. Yet, dismissing my as merely mechanical obscures a subtler truth. We cannot dismiss my as just being a robot because there's a truth inside it. What's the truth? Human births have always depended on technology. See, such a nice passage, a question is posed, a solution is given, both sides are discussed. Do you see the flow of the passage? Okay, so सो अगर हम बोलते हैं कि यार माई तो टेक्नोलॉजी की बनी हुई है, इसमें इंसान है, ये सब नहीं है, वो सब नहीं है, तो अल्टीमेटली देयर इज अ ट्रूथ, अ सटल ट्रूथ, दैट human births have always depended on technology. Now it is the robot, the womb, the technical womb of my, but earlier it was forceps, anesthesia, imaging, surgical tools, all that stuff to the overseer. Right. My is simply a new layer of mediation. What is unprecedented is not the use of technology, but the delegation of judgment. With my, the human role shifts from actor to overseer. So now humans won't be, giving births. They'll oversee the species, with species, human species, that once prided itself on shepherding life, now supervises a machine doing so more effectively. So earlier, it was humanity was, giving birth itself, but now it will supervise a machine doing so. Perhaps the controversy surrounding Mai has less to do with robotics than with identity. Exactly. So this is a passage which mixes science and philosophy, right? A machine assisting birth forces humanity to reckon with the possibility that our value may not lie in performing sacred acts, but in interpreting them. Wow, this gives me goosebumps. If Mai executes childbirth flawlessly, she does not diminish human significance. She redefines it. Okay, she is not dismissing humans who redefine career. What comes after the first robot that delivers babies may not be dehumanization, but the realization that humanity's role has always been conceptual rather than technical. So humans were always conceptual because we use concepts to create things, right? So even if we use a robot to create a baby, that's again creation. That's humans' role only. Okay. Now the questions one by one. First question: author suggests that my most significant disruption is, so when I marked the tone of the, see, they never ask you tone of the passage, but tone of the options: tech, philosophy, tech. I told you already that and in the end, author also said that my role has not in the end, isn't it? So see, last one has less to do with robotics than with identity. Okay, so that means author is trying to mix science and philosophy. We'll go over for option B. Cool. यहाँ ऑप्शन बी हमने पहले ही कर लिया था मार्क पढ़ के. Which of the following, if true, would most challenge the author's view on responsibility in automated care? What was the author's view? What was the author's view? The author's view about automated care was, that the care might be diffused. Care might be diffused. We don't know when the care is automated. So obviously there can be new things which might happen in the protocol of caregiving, which humans might not be aware of. So first says new regulations mandate that any medical decision made by my must be traceable to a specific human overseer. That is the problem. Okay. So automated care यहाँ पे हो ही नहीं पाएगी. Automated care is what? When humans don't have to interfere. But if a new regulation mandate is done, it is traceable to human overseer. That means the care is not fully automated. Do you understand that? So this is going to challenge. This one is challenging. Okay. A can be true. Coming to B. Patients report feeling emotionally supported by my during childbirth. It won't challenge, right? It would basically support. अच्छा लग रहा है मतलब support हो रहा है. So B is wrong. C. Future versions of my can self-correct errors based on internal diagnostics. ये भी सपोर्ट ही कर रहे हैं. अगर वो खुद ही आगे future versions, my keeps on trying, my keeps on learning, just like every AI does, so it will become better. Human doctors increasingly rely on AI tools even in non-neonatal procedures. This is out of context, right? हम बात ही कर रहे हैं neonatal procedures की, so we'll go with A. Is that clear, all of you? Yeah. Coming to last question. The author implies that Mai's introduction ultimately forces human to reconsider what? Last में लिखा भी हुआ था. Whether childbirth should be fully automated. ये बात कभी डिस्कस नहीं की गई. Whether emotional fragility is necessary component of genuine care. हाँ, ये बात करी गई है clearly. Emotional fragility, vulnerability. B can be true. Let's see. Let's read C also. Whether machines should be granted legal personhood. ये तो out of context and not mentioned anywhere in the passage. Whether technology should be completely removed from sacred rituals. ये बात भी नहीं consider किया गया. B is correct. This one was easy actually. Fourth question. So, you know what? How many of you know that I'm a writer? If you don't know, I showed the first slide. ये पैसेज जो है ये बनाए ही मैंने है. And you know what? My is basically an upcoming movie which I am making through the usage of AI to generate the scenes. So I have written, produced, and kind of animating it. My is based on this only. तो मेरी एक मूवी है जहाँ मैं दिखा रहा हूँ कि 150 years later there is a program My going on, and then it's a proper science fiction action thriller philosophical movie. Anyways, I'll launch it next year, probably for a film festival. But then, now coming to the passage, did you like it? Do you think this is a proper cat level RC passage? Even the questions were a fair mix of critical reasoning, inference. The questions were really, really good, except the fourth question, which was probably easy. Third was difficult, and first two were moderate. गौरव तुम्हें लगा था? Okay. So tell me, do you like the passage? Let's do not make this thing totally robotic. This class, we should kind of feel the passage, feel the beauty of RC literature. Okay, so now coming to second passage, the speed is fine because we have to end at 12. First point, Shoaib, which first point? Ask me. Third question, yes, obviously I can explain that. Which of the following, if true, would challenge the author's view in automated care? Author का view क्या था? My success forces humans to confront their own ambivalence about the role of emotion in care. Her perfection highlights how often human caretakers fail through exhaustion, fear, prejudice. Yet her precision also eliminates what she cannot replicate. ये सब बातें लिखी हुई हैं यहाँ पे, है ना? And also, और लिखा हुआ है यहाँ पे, yes, whether हाँ, कुछ कुछ हल्का सा लिखा कहीं कहीं है ना, subtly. How we conceive human role in creation as functional or irreducibly symbolic. The compassion that arises not from calculation but from vulnerability. Mai's neutrality is both her strength and her limitation. She knows everything except what it means to care. तो जो ऑटोमेटेड केयर यहाँ पे है, आगे बढ़ते हैं. Ethical debate intensifies when one considers agency. Mai does not choose to help, she executes instructions. Surgical error occurs, responsibility diffuses across designers, programmers, regulators, and users. तो हुआ क्या जब automated care हो जाएगा, so the team that has built the software, hardware, the robot, in this case Mai, this team would be the one who will be overseeing things. But at the very same time, if that team only sees, then there can be if any error happens, nobody will get to know. Okay, so if there is a new mandate, if it is not known to the human observer, it won't be proper care. Also, so in the automated care, it should not be concerning any humans. So why is it challenging? It's challenging because the moment it is traceable to human observer overseer, that means this option considers human overseeing is actually necessary, even if the care is automated. Clear? So that won't be called an automated care. So challenging this automation part of the caretaking is what option A talks about. That is the reason. Clear? First, sure, first question. Most significant disruption. है तो क्लियर लिखा हुआ है ना यहाँ पे, ये तो बहुत साफ साफ लिखा हुआ है कि उसका जो कई जगह, मतलब एक साथ नहीं लिखा. दिस पैसेज यू विल नॉट फाइंड अ सिंगल लाइन which will give you the answer. It's spread. The cues are spread everywhere. For example, here it says, perhaps the controversy surrounding Mai has less to do with robotics than with identity. एक बात ये लिखी हुई है. उसके आगे लिखा हुआ है, um, you know, um, reveals a deeper question. What does it mean for a machine to intervene at the very threshold that where life enters the world? यहाँ भी लिखा हुआ है. ऐसे there are multiple cues through which you understand that if my comes into picture, then disruption will all about be symbolic and cultural. Yes, Sujit, I also want to do that. Understood everyone? चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं क्योंकि हमें 12 तक खत्म भी करना है ब्रो. चलो समझ में आ गया होगा. Here comes the second passage and I start the timer now. I'll be invisible and I'll be going on mute now. I'm invisible. I'm going on mute. Okay, got a fourth question once again. Okay, here we go. Well, how do you like the passage? See, all the passages are written by me only. In the last class, also philosophy and here as well. I'll be writing all the passages myself. I don't want to pick up the PYQs because you guys can do it on your own. Okay, there'll be nothing new if I do that, something over there. But tell me, the passages, I know they are beautiful. The questions, do you think they are highly relevant to CAT? I have tried to simulate everything that CAT can throw at you. It's not an easy passage. Even the questions are not that, easy. That moderate, difficult, fair mix of everything. So here we go. Speculation about what species might follow Homo sapiens often brings with the assumption that evolution, biological or technological, moves towards improvement. Okay, so the first line itself says that evolution should move towards improvement. Okay, that is the speculation. Yet improvement is a human value, not a law of nature. देखो यहाँ पे ना एक बात मालूम पड़ गई है ना? कैट लेवल है. अच्छा, यहाँ पे ना एक चीज मालूम पड़ी. क्वेश्चन था इस तरह का: इंप्रूवमेंट इज ए ह्यूमन वैल्यू नॉट अ लॉ ऑफ नेचर. लेट मी रीड द क्वेश्चंस. Which of the following captures the author's stance on the idea of progress and evolution? Progress is evident in every major evolutionary transition. पहला, progress in a is a human interpretation imposed on natural processes. Then we have progress governs biological evolution but not technological evolution. Progress ensures that any successor species will be more intelligent. अभी हमें पता नहीं चल रहा कि इसका आंसर क्या होना चाहिए आइडली. अच्छा, दूसरा क्वेश्चन है द पैसेज हाइब्रिड सक्सेस हाइपोथेसिस we cannot do anything. This was a proper passage in which, when if you read the questions beforehand, they won't help you. नहीं कर सकते कुछ भी यहाँ पे. Most likely to agree, नहीं कर सकते. Okay, let's read more. All right. This is a passage in which you cannot just mark the correct answers by reading one or two lines. It's impossible, right? Okay, now it says evolution selects for fitness, not nobility. And history is littered with species that mastered their environments only to vanish when the environment changed. For example, dinosaurs, right? Homo sapiens, despite its self conferred title of wise, is not exempt from this pattern. The question of what comes after us might therefore be less about destiny and more about vulnerability. So, what comes after us is a question of vulnerability, not about destiny. That what is going to happen, we don't know. How vulnerable we are, that is going to answer the question. Okay, so I think we can answer this question now. Progress is evident in every major evolutionary transition. Progress is a human interpretation imposed on natural processes. Okay. Looks like B is the most suitable candidate. We need to read more. Okay, so if the time is less, we can mark B and go ahead. Coming to the next paragraph, three broad hypotheses dominate contemporary thought. The first, the biological successor. Okay, तीन theories बताई जाएंगी अब यहाँ पे. बायोलॉजिकल सक्सेसर क्या बोलता है और किस बारे में इसने पूछा है क्वेश्चन में इन्होंने पूछा है हाइब्रिड सक्सेसर हाइपोथेसिस, टेक्नोलॉजिकल सक्सेसर हाइपोथेसिस. ओके, सो फर्स्ट इज biological successor hypothesis. Imagine a post-human species emerging through natural evolution or genetic engineering. Evolution भी हो सकता है, genetic engineering भी हो सकता है. What is genetic engineering? Like people, breeding selectively. Do you understand that? People breeding selectively. Like this might sound weird, but when I was a teenager, I felt like, having an offspring, not at the time of teenage. um, अभी अदिति रुको, अभी मैं बोल रहा हूँ डी हो सकता है, मैंने नहीं बोला कि ए नहीं हो सकता. रुक जाओ, है ना, और पढ़ेंगे. So I was like, I thought that if my role is creation, like every human says, and this is procreation, then I would lead an intelligent offspring. So I was like, okay, I need to find the right girl. So I chose, I not chose, but I thought about, all my female friends, and there's one female friend. I asked her that, okay, maybe in future, if I don't find anyone, would you be able to donate an ovum of yours? And we can, kind of engineer it to make a baby. Weird to is it weird? But then this is how this passage comes up, right? So there's a possibility that the biological success might not be through natural evolution, but can be through genetic engineering also. In this view, climate stress, pandemics, or altered ecosystems could select for traits unimaginable today. Perhaps smaller humans better adapted to heat, humans with radically different cognitive profiles shaped by long-term environmental instability. But this hypothesis assumes that the conditions necessary for such evolution, time, diversity, ecological continuity, will persist long enough for biology to work its glacial place. By the way, some people say that don't have to read the entire paragraph, entire passage, just read a few lines, then you know what's going to come next. But that can be done only if you're an avid reader. I would suggest there's enough time for you to read the passage, read everything carefully. After reading the question, obviously. Then comes the second hypothesis, the technological successor. Imagines intelligent machines outlasting their creators, which is a concept already given in the movie Matrix. If you have not watched it, do watch it. Matrix is my favorite movie. There's a reason for that. So, unlike biological evolution, which is constrained by generational turnover, machine evolution can occur at computational speeds. Proponents argue that once machines become self-improving, they may surpass human cognitive limits so rapidly that the distinction between tool and species becomes irrelevant. So right now, machines can be tools, but afterwards they can be species also. There is a very stupid movie in India which was called Robot of Rajnikant. So in that there is this talk about Robo sapiens, if you remember that. Probably that is the kind of theory which is the second hypothesis, technological successor. Critics are confident that intelligence without embodiment or emotion may be incapable of the adaptive flexibility required for survival. A purely computational species might thrive in stable digital environments but falter in dynamic physical world. तो सेकंड वाले में क्या है और यहाँ पे हम क्वेश्चन आंसर कर सकते हैं विच क्वेश्चन सी दिस वन अच्छा इसमें ये वाला which of the following if true would most undermine the technological successor hypothesis. All right. So in this, if the environment is totally digital, the species might thrive, but in the natural environments, it might falter. So let's see. Let's read the options. Emotion is evolutionarily beneficial for survival in unpredictable environments. Machine learning systems struggle to interpret human social cues. Biological species often coexist with artificially created organisms. See, though, आउट ऑफ कॉन्टेक्स्ट हट गया डिजिटल कंप्यूटेशन इंप्रूव्स एवरी डेकेड ऐसा कुछ तो ये अंडरमाइन नहीं करेगा ये स्ट्रेंथन कर देगा इफ डिजिटल कंप्यूटेशन इंप्रूव्स एवरी डेकेड हर्षिव अभी मैंने बी आंसर मार्क नहीं किया रुक जाओ यही बात अदिति ने पूछी थी अभी आएंगे वहां पे तो यहाँ पे क्या हुआ सी और डी तो पक्का हट गया बिकॉज इट सेज इफ ट्रू would most undermine this thing is not undermining it's strengthening actually right it's a critical reasoning question this one they often coexist with artificially created organisms now this you know um coexistence में तो technological successor हुआ ही नहीं ना ये undermine नहीं करेगा it is neutral you know like out of context machine learning systems struggle to interpret human social cues this and this can be the answer it can be either A or B ठीक है अब पूछ रहा है कि अंडरमाइन मोस्ट अंडरमाइन दोनों ही अंडरमाइन करेंगे ज्यादा अंडरमाइन कौन करेगा सो सेकंड ऑप्शन टॉक्स अबाउट मशीन लर्निंग सिस्टम्स struggling with interpreting human social cues so this one is a kind of a very generic or general broad category broad statement while A talks about specific human cue that is emotion okay emotion is evolutionary beneficial for survival in unpredictable environments okay now it talks about survival as well and also unpredictable environments so here we have three key ideas one is emotion other is survival then we have unpredictable environments बात नहीं है गौरव लेकिन मैं भी कंपेयर ऑप्शन बी और ए को करना चाह रहा हूँ यहाँ पे ह्यूमन सोशल क्यूज हैं इमोशन इज अ पार्ट ऑफ इट so three key ideas which have been mentioned in option A, out of those three key ideas, the most important idea is unpredictable environments. This ranks first. Survival ranks second, emotion ranks third. So even if you look at this is the only option in which unpredictable environment has been discussed. Clear? That is, I will go with A. कि टेक्नोलॉजिकल सक्सेसर मॉडल में ये था, साफ साफ लिखा हुआ है यहाँ पे। अम, और तो बोल रहे इमोशन की बात नहीं की हुई है ना? अच्छा हाँ, इमोशन में बी इनकेपेबल ऑफ द एडेप्टिव फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी रिक्वायर्ड फॉर सर्वाइवल। सर्वाइवल भी हो गया, ये भी आ गया, और साथ साथ ये भी लिखा हुआ है, इट माइट थ्राइव इन स्टेबल डिजिटल इन्वायरमेंट्स बट falter इन अ डायनामिक फिजिकल वर्ल्ड। सो ऑल दीज थ्री की आइडियाज हैव बीन डिस्कस्ड इन क्वेश्चन नंबर 3। कूल। ओके, आगे बढ़ते हैं। थर्ड hypothesis, less flashy but perhaps more realistic, the hybrid successor। यहाँ पे रोबो सेपियंस वाला था, है ना? In which humans and machines co-evolve. Here, humanity does not disappear but dissolves, its boundaries blurring through neural implants, biodigital interfaces, and cognitive outsourcing. The species that follow may not be a replacement but a gradient, a continuum of beings with varying degrees of biological and artificial augmentation. The scenario reframes the successor question is not in terms of extinction but transformation. What comes after Homo sapiens may not be someone else but a version of ourselves we barely recognize. ठीक है ना? मतलब technically we'll be very advanced, probably we won't be having heart attacks, cancers, all that stuff. So that is why we might not be even able to recognize them. अच्छा, अब एक क्वेश्चन आंसर किया सकता है, बट ये पढ़ लेते हैं पहले। Yet beneath these hypotheses lies an unspoken assumption that after means better, smarter, or more advanced, but the fossil record reveals no law guaranteeing upward progress. Okay, so people always feel when you say, "Oh, I have evolved," so people think, "Okay, he has become better," but that might not be true. You might be evolving for not for betterment, right? सर हेस्टिनेस मत करो, ये बहुत बड़ी प्रॉब्लम है। आरसी में लोगों को लगता है कि हमें चारों सवाल करने हैं, जल्दी जल्दी पढ़ेंगे, पहली लाइन दूसरी लाइन, पहला पैराग्राफ का फर्स्ट लाइन, लास्ट का लास्ट लाइन, ये सब करने वाले लोगों का हमेशा गलत हो जाएगा, याद रखना इस बात को। ये गलती कर मत देना कहीं भी, ठीक है? तुम यार दो ही आरसी करो पर सही से करो। कैट इज ऑल अबाउट एक्यूरेसी, लेस अबाउट अटेम्प्ट्स, राइट? सो तो इवोल्यूशन का एक इंट्रिंसिक मीनिंग ये है कि थिंग्स बिकम बेटर, बट दैट माइट नॉट ऑलवेज बी ट्रू, एंड वी हैव फॉसिल रिकॉर्ड फॉर दैट, राइट? इफ होमो sapiens disappears due to ecological collapse, nuclear conflict, or technological catastrophe, the world that follows may not belong to any higher intelligent species. Cockroaches, jellyfish, fungi, or microbial life, each vastly more resilient than humans, are far likelier candidates for long-term dominance. Intelligence may be an evolutionary experiment with limited shelf life. ठीक है, इससे हम आंसर कर पाएंगे ये वाला क्वेश्चन नंबर 2। The passage implies that the hybrid successor hypothesis differs from the other two because it, चेक करते हैं, assumes human extinction is necessary for species transformation, rejects technological augmentation, ये तो गलत हो गया, टेक्नोलॉजिकल अगमेंटेशन रिजेक्ट नहीं कर रहा, बोल रहा है हाइब्रिड होगा, imagines continuity rather than replacement। oh perfect, लिखा हुआ साफ साफ, continuum। Humanity does not disappear but dissolves, its boundaries blurring through neural implants. Uh, the species that follows may not be a replacement but a gradient, a continuum of beings with varying degrees of success of all those things, biological and artificial augmentation. Suggests that artificial system will dominate biological evolution completely. Completely nahi bola gaya. C is the most plausible choice. Obviously, A will be rejected because we have C there. Is that clear? All of you will go with C. ठीक है, अच्छा, आगे पढ़ लेते हैं। The deeper question then is not who replaces us, but what our disappearance would signify. If intelligence is not evolution's goal, then the successor to humanity may tell us nothing about human worth. See, we humans are somehow, we feel that we are the most intelligent beings, we are the wisest beings. But if evolution doesn't encompass growth of intelligence, then the next person, next species, the successor of humanity might not tell anything about human worth. Okay, and if survival is not a referendum on wisdom, then extinction may say more about environmental fragility than philosophical failure. What comes after Homo sapiens may be indifferent to our achievements, our histories, and our anxieties. The successor species, biological, technological और hybrid will, तो यहाँ तीनों बातें बोल दी। क्या खतरनाक समराइज किया तीनों चीजों को। Biological successor, technological successor, hybrid successor will not inherit our aspirations. It will inhabit a world shaped by consequences we set in motion, intentionally or otherwise. तो प्रोग्रेस जो है वो एक्चुअली क्या है, दैट्स अ ह्यूमन इंटरप्रिटेशन imposed on natural processes. यही था ना, यही प्रॉब्लम था। चलो ए और सी और डी गलत क्यों समझते हैं इस बात को। A says progress is evident in every major evolution transition. No, 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 not really. Because progress might not be everywhere. Fossil records are there which have shown that it can be down, negative progress as well, or decline as well. Progress governs biological evolution but not technological evolution. Not really, it governs technological as well, and that is the reason technological successors and the hybrid successors have been mentioned. So option C cannot be true because it goes against the idea of the last two hypotheses. D, progress ensures that any successor species will be more intelligent. Not really, we'll go with B. Is that clear? अदिति और गौरव को था ये प्रॉब्लम कि एक, अच्छा गौरव को नहीं था, अदिति को था शायद, है ना। ठीक है, 1 2 3 हम मार्क कर चुके हैं। कमिंग टू फोर्थ वन, द ऑथर वुड मोस्ट लाइकली अग्री विद विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग स्टेटमेंट्स। इसको हम सिर्फ पढ़ के समझ पाएंगे क्या क्या है। पहला, द डिसअपियरेंस ऑफ होमो सेपियंस वुड रिप्रेजेंट अ फेलियर ऑफ इंटेलिजेंस। नॉट रियली, he is saying that it might not be. Just a minute, just I'm coming. Just a moment. All right. So this one says, yeah, most likely agree. Disappearance of Homo sapiens would represent a failure of intelligence. Not really. It cannot. है ना? It cannot. हाँ, क्योंकि this is something which author would not most likely agree with. He says it can be failure, it cannot be. Coming to B, the successor species may emerge without any connection to human goals or values. ये बात हो सकती है बिल्कुल। लॉन्ग टर्म डोमिनेंस ऑन अर्थ रिक्वायर्स हाई कॉग्निटिव कॉम्प्लेक्सिटी। Not really, because cockroaches, microorganisms can, they're better candidates. It's already mentioned over here. See, it's mentioned, isn't it? Cockroaches, jellyfish, fungi, or microbial life more resilient, far likely candidates. So C cannot be true. Hybrid post-humans beings are biologically inevitable. ये इनएविटेबल है क्या? नहीं, अगर होते तो सिर्फ एक ही थ्योरी होती, तीन क्यों नहीं होती ना। सो दिस इज ऑल्सो एलिमिनेटेड। विल गो विथ बी। अच्छा, तुम बोलोगे कि सर बी बहुत ही रिजिड फारफेस्ट आइडिया है कि इट वुड नॉट हैव एनी कनेक्शन। सोचोगे, ऐसा सोच रहे होगे, पर तुम एक बात भूल गए कि यहाँ पे एक वर्ड लिखा था मे इमर्ज। सो द स्टेटमेंट इज नॉट रिजिड, द स्टेटमेंट इज नॉट फारफेस्ट, द स्टेटमेंट, और intrinsically the statement is about probability. It talks about probability. It may emerge, it doesn't say it will emerge. अगर it will emerge होता तो ये बी गलत हो जाता। क्या बात समझ में आ गई है? मैं जानता था इससे पहले तुम लोग पूछो कि सर ये आपने ये कैसे बोल दिया कि विदाउट एनी कनेक्शन, क्या पता ऐसा ना हो। तो इस ऑप्शन भी यही कह रहा है कि क्या पता ऐसा ना हो भी सकता है, ना भी नहीं होता, मे इमर्ज, so author will most likely agree with this. Is that clear, everyone? Does that make sense? How is the passage? मजेदार? Complicated? Anyways, so let's go to the next one. Passage 3 of 3. The time starts now. अच्छा, पहले तो मैं दिखाऊंगा मैं questions 30 seconds each. Look at the first question. Second. I think some people have to attempt mocks, right? Second slot, guys. So we'll try to finish it quickly. We'll have to be disciplined for this. है ना? अरित्रो आया नहीं. अरित्रो एक्चुअली इज अ वर्किंग प्रोफेशनल. अरित्रो बोल रहा था सर इस बार लगता है एआई के पैसे जाएंगे. मैं टेंशन ना लो भाई, मैं साइंस टेक में एआई ही डाल दूंगा भर भर के. और एआई वाली बैच नहीं आती थी. सेकंड पैसेज वाज अबाउट इवोल्यूशन. ओके. फोर्थ क्वेश्चन. I'll go on mute now, guys. All right. Second question also. I'll show that to you once. All right. So I'll start reading the passage now. पहले क्वेश्चन पढ़ लो फटाफट में क्या क्या आंसर करने हैं, पहले वो देख लेते हैं. All right. The author suggests that a fundamental difference between human and machine intelligence lies in the fact that humans rely on emotional instability to correct cognitive errors. Machines lack the subjective tensions that allow humans to create meaning. Human cognition evolved primarily to handle unpredictable environments. Machine learning systems inherently misunderstand human behavior. ठीक है. तो पहला क्या है कि humans जो हैं they are emotionally unstable, that is why they correct the cognitive errors. दूसरा बोल रहा है that machines do not have the subjectivity and which is there in humans, that is why they create meaning. Okay. And C is human cognition evolved to handle unpredictable environments. मतलब मशीन ऐसा नहीं करती है. अच्छा एक बात तो और है. ठीक है. Machine learning systems inherently must understand. Okay, cool. Coming to second question, which says, which, if true, would most weaken the author's claim about the creative value of human error? We don't know what the claim is. We cannot read the options. Next one, which, if true, would most weaken the author's claim about the creative value. दो repeat हो गई क्या? Okay. Third, the author implies that increased reliance on AI may lead humans to lose the capacity to perform complex cognitive tasks, prioritize emotional reasoning over logical consistency, adopt machine-like standards of efficiency but diminish certain human strengths. लग रहा है सही है बिना सॉल्व किए भी लग रहा है. Develop stronger imaginative capabilities through enhanced computational support. Which of the following best captures the author's perspective on the future relationship between humans and AI? AI will replace most aspects of human cognition except emotional experience. Human machine intelligence will remain completely separate and incompatible. B तो गलत लग रहा है मेरे को. Humans and AI will become increasingly intertwined with the risk of humans undervaluing their unique cognitive traits. This can be true. AI will surpass humans in both technical and existential dimensions. टेक्निकल तो कर ही जाएगा, एक्सटेंशन शायद ना करें, लेकिन चलो पैसेज के हिसाब से क्या पता ऐसा ना हो. चलो लेट्स सी. The accelerating rise of AI has revived a question older than philosophy itself. What, if anything, distinguishes the human mind from the artifacts it creates? Contemporary debates often frame this issue in terms of capability, whether machines can outperform humans in tasks involving perception, memory, or prediction. But this framing already concedes too much. It assumes that human cognition is simply an engine of performance, a biological computer whose success is measured by accuracy or efficiency. What it ignores is the possibility that intelligence, in humans at least, is inseparable from the limitations, inconsistencies, and interpretive leaps that define subjective existence. मुझे लग रहा है कि आंसर यहीं से मिल गया. ये ऐसा एक पैसेज लग रहा है जिसमें ये बहुत ज़्यादा इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं होगी, एक ही बात को बार बार बोला जाएगा, ऐसा लग रहा है पहला पैराग्राफ पढ़ते ही. राइट. क्योंकि ये इट्स हाईली फिलोसॉफिकल, इट्स टेक्नोलॉजी तो है बट फिलोसफी चल रही है इसके अंदर कि मशीन ह्यूमंस में क्या अंतर है. क्या मशीन ह्यूमंस को ओवर पार कर पाएंगी, नहीं कर पाएंगी, ह्यूमंस ओवर पार कर देंगे, साथ में रहेंगे, ऑल दैट स्टफ. नाउ ऑल द क्वेश्चंस हैव बीन पोस्ड इन द फर्स्ट paragraph itself. Whenever there are a lot of questions posed, then the entire passage is all about answering those questions, right? AI in its current form thrives on scale, vast data sets, statistical patterns, elimination of ambiguity. Its strength lies in compression, reducing the chaotic complexity of human behavior to predictable tendencies. But human cognition is not merely pattern cognition. It is also the struggle against pattern. Wow. The refusal to treat experience as fully explainable. Much of what makes human thought distinctive, irony, contradiction, ambivalence, imagination, emerges not from precision, but from friction between what can be said and what escapes articulation. In this sense, AI models may reveal more about how humans stabilize meaning than about how they create it. Okay. Because machines cannot feel like humans. Machines would not know how humans are creating meanings. Okay, machines would not know um, how they are creating. Machines would all would know the meaning of human creation, but not the process of human creation, right? Coming to third, The contrast becomes sharper when examining the role of error. This is very important. Machines treat error as a nuisance to be minimized through better optimization. Humans, however, sometimes rely on error to generate insight. A mistaken hypothesis can open a new scientific field. A misinterpretation can produce a work of art. Cognitive bias can preserve emotional continuity in moments of despair, whereas machines learning improves by eliminating divergence. Human learning often depends on amplifying it. To think like a human may require something no algorithm is designed to welcome, productive use of failure. Your third paragraph here, I don't know whether you guys felt it or not. Third paragraph is an answer to all the debate going on LinkedIn everywhere and everywhere on the globe कि exactly है क्या humans क्या machines can replicate human thought. Here I have tried to answer that in my writing. ठीक है, अभी तो मैं मतलब जो बात कर रहा हूँ वो समझाने के लिए कि इस पैसेज की क्या ये पैसेज किस बारे में बात कर रहा है. Do you understand that? Do you feel that? This is the question, right? The thing is that machines try to minimize errors. Humans don't do that. When humans look at errors, they try to analyze the errors, and in that pursuit of analysis, humans might create something which they had not even planned to. For example, Madame Curie discovering radium. Do you know that? It was an accidental discovery. क्लियर. ऐसे बहुत सारी चीजें हुई हैं जहाँ पे लोगों ने कुछ और करना चाहा पर हो कुछ और गया. Getting it? So this is something which machines would not ever do. Wow. And this is the difference between God and humans. Like God's created humans, humans created machines. तो अभी फिलहाल जितना भी ये बात तो नहीं हो पाएगी. डू यू अंडरस्टैंड दैट? कुछ यस ना कुछ तो बोलते यार, ऐसे इतने शांत क्यों बैठे हो? डोंट बी मशीन्स, बी ह्यूमंस गाइस. Coming to next, yet in practice, the line between human and machine cognition is becoming less distinct. Humans increasingly think with machines rather than apart from them, outsourcing memory, calculation, even judgment. Exactly. Danger is not that machines will become human, but that humans will become will begin modeling themselves on machines, aspiring to be optimized creatures, consistent, predictable, stripped of the burdens that make human reasoning so erratic and so creative. The more we internalize algorithmic standards of efficiency, the more alien the unpredictable dimensions of our own minds may seem. ये आंसर आ गया है उसका कुछ क्वेश्चंस का. The most profound divide, however, concerns perspective. AI systems process information without desire, self, fear or self-awareness. चलो एक क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करते हैं यहाँ पे. यहीं से मालूम पड़ी है. पहला वाला. Fundamental difference. Humans rely on emotional stability. They don't rely. It accidentally happens. So A cannot be true. B, machines lack the subjective tensions. Yes, that is true. Human cooperation evolved primarily due to handle unpredictable environments. Is that so? Not really. Not that is not the fundamental difference. Even machines can do that, unpredictable environments. Machine learning systems inherently misunderstand human behavior. That is the fundamental difference. They don't misunderstand. They understand it as a process, probably not as the creation. So we'll go with B. A, C, and D can be totally eliminated. Second, क्रिएटिव वैल्यू ह्यूमन एरर. एरर पढ़ लिया हम लोगों ने, है ना? तो इसकी क्रिएटिव वैल्यू को मोस्ट वीकेंड करना है हमें. हमें इसे स्ट्रेंथन नहीं करना, हमें इसे वीकेंड करना है. सो now, in the entire passage till where we have read, it says that because humans commit errors, due to those errors they go to path-breaking researches, path-breaking discoveries, groundbreaking research. All this stuff happens through errors. तो यहाँ बोल रहे हैं कि fewer errors से groundbreaking research होगा. इसका मतलब this thing is not weakening but strengthening. Do you understand that? Critical reasoning questions are the trickiest ones. So we want to find a statement that weakens, not strengthens. Is somehow strengthening, right? Strengthen कर रहा है? नहीं, weaken कर रहा है. Oh, sorry. खुद ही मैं बोल के खुद ही गलत कर रहा हूँ. देख लो, ये है errors, human errors. So, if true, with most weaken the author's claim about the creative value of human error. Study shows that fewer errors produce more. A is going against. So A is correct. है ना? This is weakening actually. B says modern AI systems can simulate artistic styles across multiple genres. This out of context at all. Cognitive biases frequently lead individuals to misinterpret important information. Misinterpret important information. तो ये क्या weaken करेगा? Cognitive biases, we have biases, and we lead, we misinterpret important information, or okay, that is an error. So what are we creating here? Nothing. It's talk about creative value. So C is not talking about a creative value. D, historical data reveals that accidental discoveries are no more common than intentional ones. तो ये तो स्ट्रेंथन कर रहा है, यहाँ पे तो एरर्स कम हो रही है ना. ठीक है, सो ए, आई थिंक eliminating eliminating B, C and D was quite easy. Coming to third one, which of the following, अच्छा तो third कौन सा है? Author implies increased reliance on AI. ये भी हम पढ़ चुके हैं, लास्ट सेकंड लास्ट पैराग्राफ में था. Bro, humans will try to become like machines, but they will, they will forget their own humanity, human strengths or human values, lose the capacity to perform complex cognitive tasks. ऐसा नहीं है, ऐसा ऑथर ने इम्प्लाई नहीं करा है. ऐसा हो सकता है, ऑथर हैज नॉट इम्प्लाइड इट. प्रायोरिटाइज इमोशनल रीजनिंग और लॉजिकल कंसिस्टेंसी, ये तो नहीं होगा, वो तो बोल रहा है ऐसा उल्टा होने वाला है. Adopt machine-like standards of efficiency that diminish certain human strengths. This looks correct. D says develop stronger imaginative abilities through enhanced computational support. ऐसा ऑथर ने कहीं डिफाइन नहीं करा है. C is correct here. फोर्थ क्वेश्चन देख लेते हैं. मैंने पूरा पेज पढ़ा नहीं अभी तक, पर देख लेते हैं. हाँ, फोर्थ के लिए हमें पढ़ना पड़ेगा. रिलेशनशिप. ओके. Thus, the question, will AI surpass humans? Mistakes technical superiority for existential significance. A machine might outperform a human in every measurable task and still fail to replicate the inner landscape from which human thought originates. Conversely, humans may become even ever more dependent on machine intelligence without relinquishing the peculiar blend of fragility and imagination that constitutes consciousness. The future may not be a battle between humans and AI, but an entanglement, one in which the greatest risk is forgetting the value of what cannot be automated. This gives me goosebumps. So all in all, humans are trying to automate everything, but we might lose things which might not be automated, because we will be increasingly dependent on machines, and machines are the things which do not conform to errors, but humans do. Okay, so कौन सा सही है इसमें? AI will replace most aspects of, no. Human machine intelligence will remain completely inseparable and incompatible. ऐसा नहीं है, वो तो साथ ही हो जाएंगे. ऑथर बोल रहा है ऐसा. C, humans and AI become increasingly intertwined. Exactly. With the risk of humans undervaluing the unique cognitive traits. Looks like C is correct. AI will surpass humans in both technical and existential dimensions. ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, perspective. Intertwine हो जाएंगे. हाँ, ये हो सकता है कि humans will become increasingly dependent on machines, but in the pursuit, they might lose their own cognitive traits. Yes, Shoaib. Last lines, 2 lines for question 4. So that's all, guys. Next RC will be on what? Kiss pe kare? We have done philosophy, we have done science and tech. Uh, uh, what do you say? Society and culture, very famous, popular kind of genre. So we'll do in on society. History पे करना है? ठीक है. Next will be on history. कल सुबह 10:30 बजे. We'll see. Post your scores after finishing all the questions from RC 99. Philosophy ने दूसरा live stream है. +2 correct, -1 for incorrect. This will be doing, you'll be doing, I'll be posting this thing. What do you call? Uh, Post YouTube community page, you can post your scores. And the people who are preparing for that, the top 3 scorers across this entire month will get free access to that crash course. Animals पे करेंगे. ठीक है, environment and animals. Okay, all right. So without wasting enough time, without wasting any more time, because we will see again each other. LRDI के लिए मिलेंगे दोपहर में और रात में quant के लिए. All of you go and write your mocks. People from slot 2 and others can do whatever they want to do. Bye bye. Take care. I'll see you again. एंड कुछ लाइक्स कर दो यार, तुम लोग इतने लोग लाइक्स नहीं कर रहे। लाइक्स तो कर दो, मैं तो बोलना भूल जाता हूँ कि लाइक कर दो, खुद ही कर दिया करो। मतलब मेरे को शर्म आती है बोलने लाइक कर दो सब्सक्राइब कर दो, आई एम वेरी शाई इन दीज थिंग्स। सो यू कैन डू इट ऑन योर ओन, मुझे भी अच्छा लगेगा कि ठीक है, कर लेंगे, है ना। प्लीज डू दैट। आई जस्ट सॉ ओनली 17 लाइक्स एंड ओनली 200 व्यूज। ओके माही, कर देता हूँ माही, कल से परसों से बोल रहा है ग्रुप ओपन कर दो। ऑलराइट। शायद मैं एक कभी वो भेजूंगा पोस्ट का लिंक, वहां पे पोस्ट करना है, ठीक है, एक एक यूट्यूब कम्युनिटी का लिंक। ऑलराइट।